players who have fought really again to get to this spot.
They're both really strong players. I don't think this game's anywhere near over.
We are ready to get this match underway. Welcome back to the Iron Gauntlet Qualifier and event here at WARMACHINE Weekend 2014. I'm Will Schick, Director of Business Development for Privateer Press, and I'm here with David D.C. Carl, our Development Manager. So we had an exciting round one with a quick top of turn 2 assassination by Colin Hill against Chuck Ellswick.
Yeah, Colin mentioned after the game that his games are often quite decisive, whether for him or against him.
He did kind of regale us with a tale of when he tried that in a game previous and actually had Getorix wind up outside of his control area for Chromac, and so was unable to warpath, was unable to do anything with him. Basically served Getorix up on a platter. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You win, and you learn. So for our second round, we are going to be featuring 2 great players again this time around. We have Jake Van Meter with the Legion of Everblight as his faction of choice, as always, going up against Marc-Andre LeBlanc.
Yeah, Marc-Andre's lists are Baldur 1 and Baldur 2, along with Bradigus.
Yep.
So lots of Wold action going on in his lists.
There's a ton of constructs in those lists. Jake has Lilith 2, the Shadow of Everblight, Veil, the Consul of Everblight, Veil 1, and Saren as well for his 3 Warlocks. He's chosen his Veil 1 list for this matchup, which is Incursion. In the Veil 1 list, he's got Typhon, Ravagore, a Scythian, a Seraph, a Shredder, a full contingent of Raptors, 2 Forsaken, and a Spellmark. So a very War Beast heavy list, light on the units minus the Raptors, and an interesting matchup here against Mark's Wold heavy. Well, this list isn't as Wold heavy either. It's got a big Wold in it.
Yeah, it has fewer Wolds than either of these other lists, but his Baldur the Stonecleaver list features the Wold Wrath, which you can see him placing right now. The Wold Wrath, often a good target for the Stone Skin spell, makes it very strong and also gives it impressive armor. He's also got a Wold Watcher in Baldur's Battle Group, a full unit of Tharn Blood Trackers with Nuala, a Gatorman Witch Doctor, a full unit of Druids of Ouroboros with their Overseer, Victor Pendrake, Una the Falconeer with a Rotterhorn Griffin, and a Feral Geist. So 3 minion solos, but then 2 very impressive circle units, and then a giant Wold and a little Wold.
Yeah, it's certainly a very different list from Jake's War Beast heavy list. A lot of single trooper models on the table. A lot of advanced deployment as well. In fact, most of the army advanced deploys. So an interesting matchup here in Incursion where being able to spread out, being able to take those flags as needed depending on where they disappear is so important to winning by scenario, or at least stopping your opponent from doing the same.
In this scenario, Incursion, you're seeking to control the flags. Controlling any of the flags will give you a control point, shooting for 5 control points for the final victory. If you are able to dominate an outer flag, to have a Warcaster or Warlock on that flag without any enemies within range to contest the flag, which is 4-inch range, then you gain 2 control points. So it is possible to gain control points very quickly. You definitely need to play towards those flags in the middle of the table.
You know, and as we see our players getting set up here for this game, it was interesting to talk to the players beforehand because when Jake learned of his opponent's Warlock choices, he immediately said without hesitation he wanted to take the Veil list. In fact, when his opponent walked up to the table when we were there standing with him, he said, I'll be taking Veil for this matchup. So a lot of confidence in that Veil list against all of Mark's lists, but apparently also this Baldur Stonecleaver list. And it's something we were talking about where Jake is a very excellent player. He plays Veil both 1 and 2 a lot. He's extremely skilled with Legion. But I wonder exactly if this is the best matchup for him against the Stonecleaver list. Against the other 2, I'm with him. Against the Epic Baldur list and the Bradigus list, I see the strengths.
I think that's the trick, is that against the other 2 lists, yeah, there's a lot of strengths. But this list has one thing that the others don't, and that's the unit of Druids with the Overseer. the ability to give the whole unit immunity to fire will really slow down the Legion Beast's ranged attacks.
Well, and he's going to be able to do that as well as another special action for the unit leader thanks to the Rotterhorn's Animus.
Yep, Una the Falconeer with a Rotterhorn. 6 points, so not a cheap package, but able to really provide some benefits to other models in the army, able to give that extra special action.
Both to the Druids and the Witch Doctor. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup, I think. I think we've got two obviously great players who know their factions, and I'm curious to see how this one shakes out. The Veil list is certainly going to have its struggles against the Druids and their immunities. Also, in terms of model count, again, this is similar to our first round where we saw a lot of trooper models on the table versus a very compact, smaller list. And how you play to that, how you kind of fight that out in the end is really important to the overall effect of the game.
One of the things that I like about having the Una package in this particular list is you've got the capability to do counter magic and elemental protection and do your whole unit's combat activations beforehand. So a lot of versatility there, a lot of options.
See our players shake hand, and this game is underway with Mark's first turn.
First activating.
See the Wold Watcher activating and advancing, as well as putting down his Animus.
The Wold Watcher, I think, is... No, that's Baldur's using the Wold Watcher's Animus. Pretty sure that's Baldur behind the Arch. So now the Druids are advancing.
Interesting that he's not using Una first. Probably going to run those two to get them into better position, field position for later in the turn.
With the distances right now, so he puts up both elemental protection and counter magic, and then sets out some clouds to
summon Vortex here.
Some summon Vortex actions to block line of sight and also provide some extra defenses.
See our judge pulling those trees off to allow access to those models and place those rings down on the table.
So we now have some Druids who, due to camouflage, are effectively Def 18 from the Raptors. Iowa's Sight will ignore that, but their elemental protection means that fire-based ranged attacks can't hurt them anyway.
Yeah, which takes away the Ravagore and the Seraph as potential threats to them for this turn. See the Witch Doctor go up next and zombify the unit of blood trackers. So they now have tough and undead.
Did you catch his declaration of which unit is the prey, model or unit is the prey for the blood trackers?
I did not hear that at the start of the game, but I think it's marked with a token. So if we
happen to see a
thing
wooden token
jump
there,
up, that should be the prey model.
And now the Wold Watcher's activating.
Yep. Running forward.
Does use his Animus, as well as Stone Form.
Yep. So not a run. See the Griffin riling for 2 and running.
Yep, as you said, getting Una and that Griffin into better position for later.
Coming around on the side of... See Una putting up a Watcher. So Typhon is the prey that Mark chose for the blood trackers. So Una has Watcher up, leaving her with 1. She advances up to behind her Griffin. See a quick measurement of Baldur's control areas. Mark declares the blood trackers running.
Now, the blood trackers are not protected from elemental attacks, so they certainly need to watch their step around the Ravagore and the Seraph and Typhon.
The Ravagore is definitely on the side that threatens them a little bit and could take a shot and hope for a lucky drift.
It's often a tough choice to know on that first turn if you should go with the sure thing and get into the perfect position for later, getting farther up the field, or hope for a good deviation. With the current position of those particular models, though, and how closely they're threatening, it might be worth taking the pot shot and hoping for the best.
Mark finishes his turn and passes over to Jake. Jake begins by having the Raptors activate and advance forward. Speed 9 on those Raptors lets them cover the table very well.
And the light cavalry move lets them reposition nicely afterwards.
Jake informing Mark that all he has to do to be able to make his shots is to roll an 11, and then after he does so, he'll careen around those trees using his 5-inch light cav move. So we see the measurement for the first shot. Needs 111. It's not an 11. Measuring out his second shot. Still good. Rolls. Determined that he's going to get one, although he's missed on the first two.
And now the remaining shots would be out of range of the Druids.
Yep. So
here's that light cavalry move.
Pulls back behind that forest with a couple of them. Moves one up towards the wall, kind of spreading out here. Himself into good position to counter strike on after Mark's next turn. Fairly spread out formation there. Good use of the commander. His position behind the woods. Confident that he's not going to be able to get sniped out by anything that Mark can throw at him.
Yeah, it's always dangerous when facing Druids to rely too heavily on just your position. Their force bolts, being able to push models directly toward or directly away, can quickly line you up for attacks that you weren't anticipating. So using the wall will help. Using the other terrain features to gain concealment if they're unable to get where they could get cover. Should be a fair amount of protection from the circle attacks at range, whether they actually be ranged attacks from the Wold Watcher or magical attacks from the Druids.
Jake also definitely needs to consider the big gun on that Wold Wrath. Should certainly shut down some lanes for his Raptors. His POW 10s against them from the electrical damage rolls are certainly going to hurt.
Well, he could just use elemental protection from his Druid.
He doesn't have that one. That's the other side. So Jay, considering who to activate next, looks like he's counting up Veil's Fury, trying to decide how best to utilize it for this turn, which spells to cast. Taking his time here, not wanting to rush in this first turn. Make sure he's in good position for the later games. And as we've seen before, this kind of consideration, while important at the start, can cost you in the later rounds. Once that clock starts
up that
running against you, it becomes more difficult down the round count. So we see cast of a Slipstream on herself. She advances forward.
The other spell was Leash, I believe, on the
Seraph, it looked like. We see the Ravagore advance from Slipstream.
Yep. Okay, so Leash is also on the Ravagore. So we have a Leash move on the Ravagore and then a Slipstream on the Ravagore for a total of 5 inches. That will certainly get the Ravagore wherever he wants to go and still be able to shoot.
See a tenacity on Veil herself. Jake admitting that he had a plan, but he's not sure if it's working. So see another tenacity from Veil onto the Seraph. As he declared, her front arc right now cuts across that Wold Watcher, so she can see pretty much everything on Mark's side of the table currently. See Jake kind of softly doing some math to himself here, determining where his next best move is.
It's It's interesting that just before this game, I was talking with a few other attendees here at WARMACHINE Weekend about how the different factions have their own play styles, strengths, and even weaknesses, and how it sets them apart. Not every faction has the exact same tools, and that's certainly coming into play here with the tools available to Legion versus those available to Circle. Certainly pros and cons of both these armies. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out and how they're able to counter one another's strengths and weaknesses.
See that Ravagore activate next and advance up behind the wall. Jake now going to check a line of sight. Trying to maximize his shot here. So he can see the one he wants. He animuses to give the shot the continuous effect fire. Firing on that middle one. Boosted roll.
Oh.
Jake telling him he better not miss on the first roll of the game. Ravagore does connect, which is going to be a big shot for him. So that's an instantly dead Bloodweaver unless she toughs, which she does. And then the other two caught in the blast also need to make tough checks. Second one toughs. Third one does not. So two are knocked down and on fire. Jake now going under the table for something here. He comes back with some new fire tokens.
Now with the timing here, those models will not be tough when they roll for fire. So if the fire sticks around, those Tharn blood trackers are toast.
So Jake kind of talking about how he was hoping to get the Seraph up first to take shots at the front blood trackers, but didn't quite work out because of the way Leash and Slipstream.
We've got a Forsaken hiding there behind some kind of mausoleum or something.
It is being a very sneaky Forsaken at this point. So, see Typhon advances so that his base is touching the wall.
Claiming some cover from that ruined piece of castle or something.
It's an odd choice to build your castle on top of a frozen lake. Probably why it fell down.
Well, I think that lake was diverted here when some Pharaoh made a dam and some gremlins got into a... Nah, I don't know. I got nothing.
It looks cool. That's what matters.
Right. That's what I meant.
So see Jake measuring out. Attack with his Seraph. So moving forward, doing a run, it looks like.
Also grabbing some cover there.
Yeah. So we've got Jake just moving carefully into position, trying to keep all of his beasts in cover, protected from the ranged attacks of the circle, especially that Druid Force Bolt, like you talked about. He doesn't want to see his stuff pulled out of position into charge range of Mark's army.
Yeah.
Doing a quick count on his Fury to make sure that he's got enough for Veil next turn. See the Shredders scoot out there. And the other Forsaken run.
So now that the flag has disappeared.
And Jake very excited about the result of that one because it's the flag he wanted to be gone.
Well, I think that flag is potentially better for both. No, it probably helps Jake a little bit more.
So we see
Una and the Griffin are definitely in position to have helped really contest, possibly even control the flag that did disappear, and along with the Wold Watcher.
So we saw the fire rolls go. One of the blood trackers was eliminated by the fire. Not sure if the second one was. A different angle on the table will tell us if that blood tracker survived, if the fire went out, if the fire's still going. The fire's still going. They're dead blood trackers. They can't survive.
Right.
You can't survive a fire continuing on.
On a low enough roll, Nuala could make it, but I don't believe she was one of the
No.
models tagged.
No, she wasn't hitting that initial blast. So we see Mark doing some control area measuring, trying to figure out if he can get veiled. See another top of turn round 2 assassination here from a circle player. It's a popular move.
Veil looks far enough from any woods to at least potentially be safe from a melee assassination run. And a ranged assassination run would be tough. She does have 2 Fury left.
So you also might have noticed that right at the start of Mark's turn, Jake flipped the clock back over. That's because they forgot to roll for the flag initially, and the time was on Mark's clock. And Jake, being the sportsman that he is, flipped the clock back and said that was supposed to be on my time, so we're going to let my clock run down a few seconds so that I don't wind up winning by 3 seconds and feeling terrible. Yeah. Just the kind of sportsmanship that makes all these events so fun to watch. Because Mark's like, it's not a big deal. It's
right. 3 seconds is 3 seconds, but
Jake's like, no,
I don't want to win by 3 seconds.
I'm burning that off.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. Mark walking through his thought process here about potentially getting an assassination against Veil. Looks like he is trying to figure out a way to use Forest Walker.
Yeah, I mean, Forest Walker could give another ranged or a spell attack, magic attack at range. That looks a little far for what he's trying to do.
He's looking at 18 inches effectively. Jake's saying that
the distance on the Wold Wrath to get the Animus in place. Especially with the flag there.
Yeah, being able to pass through the flag, but obviously not being able to stand on the flag. So Mark deciding to move forward, so we see the Wold Watcher activating. And looks like he's just going to advance forward. No more flags. The Wold Watcher is advancing towards the middle. See a shot from its gun, boosting to hit.
So he's definitely within range of that Raptor.
And a def 16 on that Raptor right now in the woods.
Yep.
And he missed. And he goes into
just barely. Missed by 1.
Goes into stone form next. Makes him pretty impervious to those Raptors.
Did you roll a 9 or a 10? Missed by 1 or 2. It was close,
9,
though.
I think.
Yep.
So, Mark checking some more stuff on those Raptors. Trying to make sure he doesn't lose Una or that Rotterhorn Griffin before he absolutely has to.
A stone-formed Wold Watcher is not the ideal target for those Raptors.
Poison's inconsequential.
But that Griffin's fairly vulnerable to them, and Una definitely would be if she doesn't hold on to transfers.
Yeah. 5 shots with poison against that Griffin. It's a good chance of removing that model.
Some of them potentially aiming. Griffin's defense is solid, but not enough to fully protect it.
See Mark considering where he wants to go next. He moved forward with that Wold Watcher activation really quick. Now he's on to the more important stuff, I think, and it's caused him to pause and think. So we have an advance from the Druids. See 1 move 4 inches and then 2. Moving to within contesting distance of that center flag.
Just for reference for anyone watching, those vortex clouds are no longer actually there right now.
See those couple of Druids on the side there towing in the forest. Mark gets a quick clarification on Veil's Dark Sentinel ability. Model has to move within 5 inches of her and end its normal movement, and then a friendly faction war beast model within 5 inches can immediately make a full advance and a normal attack, melee or range, targeting the enemy model that ended within 5, gaining boosted attack and damage rolls.
Now we see Marc-Andre removing his vortex clouds there, since those are no longer in play.
A couple more Druids left to go here. Advancing those guys up.
Looks a little bit far from this angle to get all of them to successfully attack some enemies.
Yeah. So we see first Force Bolt. It's going to hit, pulling 2 inches straight ahead. POW 10 does no damage to that Raptor, but did pull him forward. We see another shot against that Raptor. Does hit, pulls straight forward 2 inches again. No damage once more. See a Ravagore shot. Does hit.
Even with tenacity and cover.
Just pushes him 1 inch back. So I don't think that's going to pull him away from the cover necessarily.
Well, he wasn't quite base to base with it, so a full inch back is going to do the trick.
So we see some damage put on the Ravagore with a healthy 11 damage roll there. So those 4 are done. We see some summon vortexes coming out. Counter magic, and then we'll see an elemental protection, I'm sure. I'm a little surprised that Una and the Rotterhorn didn't go first.
Yeah, they're a little bit, now they're out of position to really assist too much with the acceleration animus. For now.
So Jake calling for the Ravagore to be a champion here. Woldrath activates, advances. Mark determining his target here. He's got a lot of options now. Ravagore is no longer in cover.
Yeah, Jake's army not quite as attractive to a Woldrath as some armies tend to be, due to the way that his ranged attack works, his lightning strike. Ideally, you want some grouped up enemies, preferably with low armor.
He did choose the Ravagore and rolled really high on that shot, doing 12 points of damage. A healthy 16 damage roll on that Ravagore. So we see a
storm generator ability.
Bouncing into the Seraph.
Arced over to the Seraph, yep.
Doing nothing. But still, you can't be upset with a 16 roll on a damage roll against that Ravagore. 12 points on top of the damage already laid on it by the high damage roll from the Druid. So
those are not clouds, but just lightning AoEs, and the electrical damage probably won't do too much to the Ravagore or Seraph, although with a good enough roll they could.
Balder activates and feats.
But it potentially limits what the Forsaken can do.
Balder popping his feet right now at the top of round 2, safely behind that Woldrath.
So definitely not going for an assassination yet.
Not this turn. I think that's the right move, though. I don't think that 18 inches was there. Witch Doctor goes and zombifies the Blood Trackers one more time.
Blood Trackers are going to advance. The Ravagore no longer as safe from them, but not their prey.
No, but with the amount of damage on it currently, enough good damage rolls on those Weapon Master shots could finish it off here, which would be a big boon for Mark this early in the game.
So Balder's feat gives his army cover, which is definitely helpful from some of those attacks. Also strips away Pathfinder from enemy models and treats his control area as rough terrain. So even the fleet Raptors won't be able to move over this area smoothly like they usually do for one turn.
So the first one hits, does no damage. Second one hits, does 1 point of damage. Mark admitting that this isn't going as well as he'd hoped initially. Hits on the next shot. Nothing again. Seeing some balance coming out from those earlier high damage rolls.
Do we have Stone Skin currently on
Stone Skin is
Blood
currently
Trackers?
on the blood Trackers, yes. See 4 points there. Better shot. He's got 2 shots left here. Does hit. Does no damage one more time. Last shot. Hits really well. Does no damage again. Jake's saying he doesn't feel bad about that dice rolling because the Woldrath blasted the Ravagore.
Right. The Blood Trackers might have rolled a little bit below average, but the Woldrath made up for it.
Yes, he did. So we see a reform movement here. Blood Trackers moving as best they can. Kind of spreading out to avoid the fire blasts.
As well as the strafe from the Seraph. A good formation will go a long way against these particular Legion forces.
And even with Stoneskin on them lowering their overall speed, those between Reform and their innate speed 7, those Blood Trackers are certainly no slouches in terms of mobility.
Yeah, definitely one of the units that can afford that penalty without caring a whole lot.
Moving on to Una and her Rotterhorn, it looks like. So the Rotterhorn riles for 1 and runs. Interesting. Really putting the Griffin out there. We see Una walking forward, hugging that ruined wall for cover.
But now that Griffin is very close to the Druids, though, so it should easily be able to get an acceleration where it's needed next turn.
If it's still around. Mark passed the turn, but realized he hadn't activated his Feral Geist, which was caught by the judge. He immediately went back, ran the Feral Geist, and now it's past the turn. So now it's Jake's bottom of round 2, turn 2.
Yep.
So Jake realizing that he didn't put enough Fury out for Veil, so he's going to have to cut himself for 1.
Which doesn't seem like much of a problem,
himself.
But when it all comes down to those last couple points of damage, it can certainly make a difference.
Well, Veil is certainly one of those squishier casters. She doesn't have a lot of boxes with only 14 to be burning this early in the game.
And lower armor as well. That certainly doesn't help.
Very low arm at 13. Jake taking a look at the board here, trying to decide where to go next. He does have to deal with Baldur's Feet, which is certainly going to slow him down. Those Raptors especially, at least 1 or 2 of them it looks like might be caught within the area of effect of Baldur's Feet.
Well, but even those that are, they've got some targets. So if they stand still, unload on the Griffin with the aiming bonus, should allow them to hit more easily. They'll be able to tear some chunks out of it, possibly with some good rolling, maybe even destroy it.
So you see Jake kind of planning out his turn here, doing some math in his head, talking about some threat ranges, making sure that the Lightning Storm ability from the Woldrath gun are not cloud effects. So we see Veil go and heal 1 point from the Ravagore. She casts Slipstream. She advances. Jake declares that his intention is to stay out of the cloud effects.
Out of the cloud effects, whatever they may be,
maybe, yeah,
since they're not actually cloud effects. But they are electrical effects, and as we were just saying, Veil's arm 13 might not like a POW 10 electrical damage roll very much.
Checking some line of sight here. He's going to be throwing an Oraculous at something. Jake grabbing a blast widget here. Popular tool that we've seen a lot of use of at these events. Checking off the Ravagore's base since that template is directly centered on the Ravagore.
Marc-Andre pointing out that it's just a POW 10.
Yeah, but, just a POW 10 on an arm 13.
Yeah, I don't think Jake's going to go for that.
Oh, so here comes a feat, because there's that token.
Cat and mouse.
So finishes his activation. You see the Slipstream, which looks to have affected Typhon. Automatically hits the Feral Geist with the Oraculi and has Insight Up, which automatically pops the Feral Geist.
Yep, and the guided ability is giving her a chance to hit it without even rolling.
So feet is up, Insight is up. Vale's got 3 Fury left. Typhon's going to activate next. Typhon decides to walk towards the wall effectively. Got to watch for that Baldur's control area because once he gets in there, he's going to move slower.
In this case, doesn't prove to be a problem for him though. And I think
we're
going to see some Dragon Breath here.
Here comes a bunch of sprays. So Def 13 because of Stone Skin. Insight plus the minus the Stone Skin means Tough Roll. She's knocked down.
Gatorman Witch Doctor proving his worth once again.
Zombified Blood Trackers with Stone Skin. Last thing you want to see. Typhon does take a POW 10 because he walked into the cloud. Does nothing to him, though. Jake admitting that he's boosting on his second spray attack because he doesn't want to miss anymore.
Well, he didn't.
And Tufts again for getting an exclamation from Jake here. There we go, end of the Tough.
Not a real big activation yet for Typhon, though.
Not yet. Checking line of sight here on his last breath attack. Targeting Nuala. Hits, boost both. Hits, no Tough, eliminates that one. Hits and no Tough. Jake admitting he feels better now, even though the Tough rolls went against him a little bit at the start of that activation. Forsaken advances up, steals all 4 Fury from Typhon. All 3
Using
Fury.
consume
2.
whatever it is.
Consume Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying what Jake said.
Consume whatever. Takes all 4. So we've got the Ravagore, it looks like, coming up next. Or Jake just doing some cleanup, apparently. So considering here his next move after Typhon cleared out some of those blood trackers.
Now, is the token on Typhon, is that a Tenacity?
I believe the token, I'd have to look. The Tenacity symbols are triangles.
Okay, so not Tenacity, but there's something on him.
I think it's Chiller. You see Jake talking about the Raptors now.
So even with Broken Earth in effect, Jake is attempting to take advantage of the cavalry charge rules, which would give some more accuracy to the Raptors and also would allow them to have that charge bonus die of damage, so really able to carve into their targets.
With Weapon Master against Druids, though, it's the accuracy that matters.
Sure. I don't think this particular attack is the one where it's going to make a difference, but against the Griffin? Against the Griffin, it's going to make a difference.
Yep. So, a quick question here is, because he's going to be moving into Baldur's Zone and losing Pathfinder, does that matter?
Judge is checking the documentation.
So just he gets over the wall, even though his base is still on it when he loses his Pathfinder ability, because he starts with Pathfinder at the wall. Not something that you see come up very often, but a definite reason as to why we have a judge program.
Yep. With the charge already declared, you don't rewind to the point of declaring.
So instead of shooting at the Griffin, he only charges the Griffin. Needed a 6 to hit. So the mount attack does hit. The sword attack missed, however. So 6. So 5 points to the 2.
So not a whole lot going on for that particular unit's activation.
I'm kind of surprised Jake didn't just choose to shoot. He's got his 5-inch light cav move, but he didn't eliminate his target. He's got one raptor that's in the way, but wasn't able to make its charge target because of Baldur's Feet.
He could get closer to a Druid or the Wold Wrath potentially, but to what ends at this point?
Right.
The Circle Army has too much they can bring to bear against that model, it seems.
So we see the Ravagore putting a its Animus on itself again, taking that template with him, and Jake claiming that it's mine.
That nice electrical storm there.
And we see the Ravagore boosting to hit the center blood tracker in that group of 3 over in the corner there.
Plenty to hit.
So we have a Scalar AoE over there. The Seraph is going to be taking a POW 10 as he flies through the storm cloud. Ooh, great roll. 5 points to the 1.
Marc-Andre definitely having some fortune on his damage rolls anyway.
So 5 points to the 6 there. 3 points left in the Spirit. Ooh, dangerous. All right, we see a strafe shot happening.
But the blood tracker unit is very capable, very powerful unit. Taking out several of their troopers will be very beneficial.
See Jake being very confident here in his boosted attack roll. Misses, takes another shot at the front girl, boosts it.
Misses.
Thanks to the cover being 17s.
Okay, shooting the one in
Close,
because of the feet.
Not enough.
Just within.
The feet giving them the +4 defense for cover.
Yep.
So ineffectual shooting from the Seraph.
So
we have the Spell Martyr still sneaking up through
they've
those
got
ruins.
that -1 from the spell.
Stone Skin.
+4 from the feet. Was she within range for the -2 from Insight?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So then that would make the difference, because I think with the
with the +2, he would have hit on a couple of
Yeah.
those. But no, Veil is outside of her command 9 for Insight on that target. Obviously, his ideals would have been to shoot the Druids, but
they are immune to fire again.
So.
Yep. And I think we can expect them to be until he is somehow able to take out that officer.
So that Forsaken over in the corner, still yet to activate.
I think there might
Scythian
also be
still
a
waiting
Spell
to
Martyr
activate.
over there somewhere.
The Spell Martyr moved. He advanced up to behind the wall, but hasn't made his play yet.
Right.
He's kind of just sulking, hidden from everything.
So Scythian advances just a little bit. Not much at all, really. And now the feet. Here we have some cat and mouse action going on.
So Jake easily has the range on his controller to move just about everything he wants.
asking where Baldur's feet ends so he knows how far to move that raptor.
See quick movement there, up, losing half distance. She's got 3 inches left. So 1.5 inches after Baldur's rough terrain feat. Advancing over there.
Raptor's getting into position to kind of be in the way and kind of get ready for next turn. I suspect we'll see at least a couple of them fall in the counterattack here.
Jake considering what else to do with his cat and mouse moves here. He's got a lot of them thanks to Veil's 16 inches.
Yeah, and due to some of those Blood Tracker tough rolls, the more models still remaining in the feat, the more you're able to do with cat and mouse, so you definitely want to trigger it fairly early.
See a quick measurement there by Jake and Mark. Jake saying that he's looking to block up Mark's next turn as much as possible here. So Typhon wisely advancing away, I think.
Certainly something I would want to do with the remaining Blood Trackers looking to take out their prey. And with even just being so close to the Woldrath.
See a Shredder getting promoted to speed bump duty there, advancing forward with cat and mouse in front of Typhon.
No, tenacity. Can't lose the Animus.
I think you'd rather lose the Animus than lose Typhon at this point.
I know it. I still don't know what that paralysis token or whatever that is supposed to be representing right now.
So we see the Seraph advancing over a little bit, also kind of putting itself in front of Typhon.
Well, and the Seraph's also taken enough damage that it is likely considered expendable at this point.
Takes another POW 10 from walking the Revigor back into the Stormcloud, and a high roll from Mark. Sees 2 points of damage put on it.
Grabs that cover once again.
So that token is actually not on Typhon, it's Insight.
Okay. So, yeah, it's lost its owner, but that is the Insight token apparently.
See the Scythian advancing over a little bit. The positioning on the Scythian is actually facing forward, but to be able to hug the wall like he wants, he turned it around. So it's understood that it's actually not got its back to the opposing army.
Marc-Andre now bringing in some Fury for Baldur here. And for Una, for that matter. Removes his 1 Vortex. With all Fury now leached, and seems like he is upkeeping some stuff. Looks like he's also upkeeping his feet. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there goes Insight, floating back towards Veil.
All right, so did you understand if he said that he's upkeeping Solid Ground or Stone Skin? Or both?
He's upkept Stone Skin currently because the token is still on the Blood Trackers. Looks like he's upkept
Solid Ground is also still there. So that leaves Baldur with 4 Fury to use this turn.
And Watcher also looks like it's being upkept on Una currently. So it looks like we're going to see some Black Penny bird shots from Una, trying to clear out that first Raptor.
And that's the thing with Una. You don't want to waste her capabilities with ranged attacks because she's got Black Penny. She can send those birds right into combat. She can boost damage rolls. You don't want to risk her, not leave her vulnerable, but you certainly want to take advantage of everything she has to offer, not just leading a battle group, but also using a ranged attack that has a special ability that makes it very helpful in situations like this.
So we got Una advancing forward so she can target potentially 2 of those raptors. The first one hits. It's a POW 10.
Boosting
she
the
boosts
damage
the damage roll. Oh, only 3 points, leaving that raptor alive with 2. Second initial shoots again, need an 8.
Missed by 1.
Third one shoots and misses.
Missed again.
So the Griffin gets hit with the first bird. Does hit, -5 to the damage roll, 1 point to the 4 on the first missed bird.
Now, that's the danger of shooting into combat. Even with Black Penny, you need to hit your target.
So she sits on 2 Fury. She did not upkeep Watcher. So we have the Wold Watcher walking up, trying to finish off that Raptor. Needs a 9 to hit. Misses.
Turn him into a tree.
True, to fertilize him. Missed on the first shot. Boost on the second one, needs a 9. Does get that. And does kill him.
Damage rolls.
There's a forest.
Wouldn't have killed him if that was the only attack, but with the bird and the Wold Watcher, it's enough to turn that guy into a tree.
So the Griffin going next, flying forward into that next Raptor. And going base to base with the flag, it looks like, from this
looks
angle.
like it. It's best we can tell from the camera.
Solid to hit roll there with a 15. And that will destroy him on a boosted damage roll.
Leaving
11.
one of the Raptors now well out of formation. Now, as best I can tell from here, it looks like he is going to gain a control point for that flag.
Definitely looks like it. As long as that Griffin does look to be in base to base, he's cleared out the zone around the flag. Yep. He's going to be scoring at least 1 point this turn. Maybe 2. Mark's certainly got a beeline to that further flag. He's not going to be able to dominate it. But Jake pulling back like he did, that Ravagor looks outside of 4 inches from here. Mark considering what to do next. Still a little surprised that Jake didn't take the opportunity to just shoot the Griffin. He probably would have given up the control point like he did now, because the Raptors wouldn't have been in great position to
Well, but
contest.
cat and mouse.
Cat and mouse would have let him move forward too. Oh, Watcher was upkept, because there it goes. No, wasn't upkept. There we go. Yes, no, yes, no. All right.
Still got a lot of activations to take care of on the circle side for this top of turn 3, or top of round 3.
Taking a lot of time to consider things here. His feet's gone. He's in zone to take one of the flags. Could be in position to take another flag. Score 2 points. Force Jake to respond. Jake still has a decent amount of his army. His War Beasts have taken a little bit of a beating. The Ravagor has certainly taken a lot of damage. The Seraph is also taking a fair amount of damage. Nearly a third dead. But heal 1 point in each aspect, and that's all you really need.
Right.
See the blood trackers moving
resiliency of War Beasts is quite well known in War Machine and Hordes. If you don't finish it off, it's going to be coming back at you fully capable the next turn with just a little bit of healing.
So we have the blood trackers going forward. They did not get zombified yet this turn. Trying to finish off. Trying to finish off their target here. So we see 5 points to the 1. He's got 5 left on the Ravagor. Hits with a 13. Does 5 points to the 1, which is exactly what he needed. Ravagore is now destroyed. Mark points out that if it hadn't been for that lightning storm attack from the cat and mouse move, the Ravagore would have lived with 1. So we see a shot against Typhon as the intended prey.
So that model, the small-based model in the back there, which we haven't talked about much. I was honestly not quite sure who that was last turn. That's Victor Pendrake, and it's his Beast Lore ability that's giving them boosted attack rolls against War Beasts for 1 turn. So the Blood Tracker's really making use of that Beast Lore from Victor Pendrake to hit War Beasts despite being in cover.
So we see him trying to take out a Shredder with a Javelin throw. Does not kill the Shredder, but does a huge chunk of damage to him.
Legion Army beginning to feel the pain of that unit of Blood Trackers.
Here comes the reform. Stone Skin plus Beast Lore on those Blood Trackers is a brutal combination.
Yep. Extra accuracy, extra damage output. It's really tough to beat that particular combination when it comes to an already solid combat unit.
Mark trying to ensure that he still is in control range for that unit on the flag itself, with Nuala being in the back, but still within 4 inches. Here, Mark talking about running the Druids just to roadblock everything up. Score
well, he
4.
said to score the flag. I'm wondering if, well, the Blood Trackers are the Blood Trackers under half strength?
Looks to be 5
of 11.
5 of 11. So
they're really contesting that flag, but they're not actually going to get a control point yet, I don't believe. Unless I'm not seeing something quite right.
Unless one's hiding behind the Woldrath, I think you're right.
Yeah, nope. There's just the 5.
So Mark looking at the table.
Speaking of that Woldrath, where do you see him going this turn, Will?
Well, he's kind of got some stuff in his way. It depends on what the Druids are going to do. They're locked up with that Nis Raptor, although he can't make free strikes because he's outside of formation now. So,
yep.
It's a good question. I mean, at this point, he's kind of just mobile cover for Baldur, and you're going to be up on scenario. You've got the Legion Army pretty well boxed in. I kind of would just keep him where he is. Shoot at a War Beast, probably Typhon if you can see.
I think I might move up a little and finish off that Shredder. It's a little more of a guarantee than Typhon, who's still got a decent chunk of damage circles remaining.
Finish off the Shredder could certainly be possible. I feel like the Druids themselves could do that, though.
Potentially, yeah. If they run for the flag, no. But
no.
If they
go for the flag, then no.
If they stay in the fight, then yeah, they'd be a good
I'm curious.
option.
That the far Druid, though, the one towards the center of the flag, looks to be 12 inches would be tough. 16.
Well, 12 inches and then 4 inches from the flag, and the flags are 15 inches apart?
I think that's accurate. So it'd be close, because he's not directly in the center of that center flag. He's over to the side.
But then he could run right past that Raptor and be like, hey, you want a free strike? No.
Your leader's not around anymore. You don't know what to do. Spell Martyr's also within 4, so he does have to deal with the Spell Martyr who's hiding behind that wall. That's
I can kind of see him there.
Being sneaky.
Yeah.
So measuring out Baldur's control area. Here's the aim and shoot Typhon. See if he actually goes through with it. He said he thinks he's going to do that. Certainly something that would jump up to my head. Checking to see if he's contesting the flag.
How
The
damaged
Waldwrath
is Typhon? Maybe he's more damaged than I recall.
Typhon
I know he
has
took a good hit.
one aspect, it looks like completely out, and then no, not even one aspect completely out. It looks like he's just got his 5 branch completely filled. So not that damaged.
Yeah.
So we see the Druid's going next. Druid's not leaving the engagement zone of that Raptor. I'm a little surprised by that. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see the Waldwrath take a. No.
One of the things that's interesting about the possibility of leaving that Raptor around is it sort of forces Jake's hand.
Mm-hmm.
You either have to come back closer to be able to use that guy, or you have to just kind of give him up when you don't really want to just waste a valuable asset like a Raptor. It could have a psychological effect as well as a practical one.
See the first Druid take a shot on the Shredder and miss with a 3. Second Druid taking a shot on the Shredder, needs a 6 and does hit. Oh, only does 1 damage. The Shredder, Jake happily informing him the Shredder had 3 damage left.
This is that Shredder's lucky day.
Needs his location. So 1 point to the 5, pulls the Shredder 1 inch forward. See a Druid taking a shot on the Forsaken that has 4 Fury on it. Does hit, decides to pull him. Does 1 damage to the Forsaken and pulls him forward 1 inch.
Now, there's a little bit of a risk associated with that.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling a Forsaken forward when it's got a bunch of
Fury
Fury
on it.
for...
Does hit, needs an 8 to destroy. Does
it is
get it.
enough, yep. But you never know. I mean, Forsaken's defensive stats are not bad.
No, not shabby at all. And that was certainly not a sure thing. And against the Druid's low arm, the Forsaken is...
Right. A valuable weapon.
Mark now considering where to go next after his Druid's activation. Still has Balder, still has the Waldwrath. Believe he still has the Witch Doctor as well.
I believe you're right. Gatorman Witch Doctor in the back has not activated yet as far as I've seen.
We know Pendrake is gone because we saw Beast Lore being used again on the Tharn Blood trackers. Here comes the Waldwrath. Advances forward and decides to shoot Typhon. Needs an 8 to hit. Is in range at 13 inches. Hits. Jake asks for a quick confirmation of the range. So POW 15 minus 2 with a boost.
This could be another massive hit, or it could go the other way. You never know.
It's average hit.
Yeah. And
then it bounces back into the Shredder.
Jumps to that lucky Shredder.
Who is no longer lucky.
His luck ran out.
So 2 more AoEs on the table. See them trying to place those lightning storms right now without knocking over everything on the table. And then 1 on Typhon.
Jake reminding Marc-Andre that he can roll the POW 10 on the Seraph as well.
Well, that's next turn because the Waldwrath gun works a little differently, right? Because you take the lightning strike, you put the cloud down, but then you have to move or end within the cloud to take the damage. Storm generator. Trying to get that storm generator cloud centered properly, though, when the shredder was base to base has been problematic.
Yeah.
So Balder puts down a forest for his activation. It's quickly over. Mark has ended his turn.
You can possibly hear some of the excitement of War Machine Weekend in the background here through our mics. Maybe not. We can certainly hear it, though. A lot going on this weekend. A lot of different events.
A lot of big announcements.
Yeah, a lot of different prizes and giveaways from some of the different sponsors and from War Machine Weekend itself. Carl Morgan puts on a great show and has now for 11 years running.
It's been a long time.
A long time indeed.
See Jake, who leached his fury, is now considering what he's going to do. He's definitely on the defensive at this point. See a charge from the Raptors. No problem with the range this time because Balder's feet isn't up. See charges against the Griffin.
Formation.
Trying to stop those points from coming up now that Mark did score one. Hits the Griffin easily thanks to the cavalry charge bonus. Drops the dice on the floor.
Whoa.
That's a big roll. 16 points to the 1. Mark just now realizing they're weapon masters. So that was a huge hit. Should be a simple matter to finish off this Griffin.
It might be finished off. It took a little bit of damage last turn.
That Griffin is actually dead on that one hit.
Yep.
And Jake admitting he doesn't feel sorry at all about that. So, again, our score right now is 1-0 for Mark. So Jake, with no other attack target, just gets to take his 5-inch cav move. Moving those Raptors to be as annoying as possible for Mark's next turn. The blood trackers no longer have tough. So Mark admitting to Jake that he finally gets to kill a bunch of them if he wants.
Now here's where it would be nice if that Seraph could just stand still, aim, but with how much damage it's already taken, it probably doesn't really want a PAL 10.
No. But I'm pretty sure it already has lost an Animus at least, so you'd have to take the chance that Animus might get knocked out again or heal it excessively. They are stone skin though, so they're -1 defense.
But it also depends on which aspect is out. If his body aspect is out, does Jake even really care?
That's true.
I don't recall and can't tell from here what exactly is what, but if it's that card that I think it is, it looks like it might be body that's out.
See Jake kind of doing some math in his head, trying to figure out what to do here. I think we might see, if he can clear that flag appropriately, Vale running to dominate.
Ooh, I don't know. How close do you think the Woldrath is to the flag?
I don't think the Woldrath's within charge distance. It's definitely within gun distance.
Well, sure, yeah.
But with enough transfers, and Jake still has a fully health Scythian. Hiding behind that wall, hasn't done anything yet.
That Scythian must be friends with the Spell Martyr.
They are both very sneaky. So we see Typhon advancing out of the cloud, kind of around the corner, going to try to get some sprays off on those. Jake wondering why he's so afraid of these blood trackers here. That's a really good angle to hit at least 2 of them per spray, it looks like.
Yeah.
It just gets 1.
Yeah, that particular angle is only looking at 1.
Does hit, kills her. No tough rolls to worry about this time. Another spray.
Second spray.
Kills
That'll
that one.
do.
See that one getting switched out since it is the leader, even though Nuala, as the officer, is still the leader. Spray
shooting
hits.
at the newly field promoted model. She also gets taken out.
And that's it for Typhon. Being burned all 3 of his sprays with 3 boosts. Jake has just 2.
Did he make the terror roll? Massive casualties? 3 out of 5 dead.
I didn't see one yet. I did not see one. See that Seraph shifting over, going to shoot Nuala now. See, gets 3 shots. First one misses. Boosts the second one. Does hit. And she is dead, dead, dead. So Nuala is now removed. There's 1 model left in that blood tracker unit. Jake putting a lot of resources into eliminating that unit, though.
Yeah, for 2 turns straight now, putting a lot of resources into dealing with the blood trackers. Now, it is worth noting, though, that those blood trackers are not simply an 8-point unit or even simply a 10-point unit with their UA, but effectively, they've really been like a 15-point unit this game with the Gatorman Witch Doctor and with Victor Pendrake. Those models are still useful, but not quite as powerful as when they're enhancing an 11-gal unit of powerful blood chickadees.
Chickadees. So it looks like Jake is activating Veil now. Doing some quick measurements here. Using Slipstream on the. Looks like she used. Looks like there was a Slipstream declared on the Scythian. You're going to see that last. So
and the Oraculous takes out that very last blood tracker.
See Typhon getting healed for 1. Veil sitting on 4 still.
Oh, hey, look.
Spellmarker running out, taking the flag. Going for a point here. We also have the Forsaken that's been back there. Just replaced. There's a whole Legion army hiding out in that castle over there. And that Forsaken takes all 4 Fury from Typhon. Veil is sitting on 3, it looks like, currently. Jake growling about the POW 10 from the cloud as the Scythian files and runs.
And with 9 off on the damage roll, that POW 10 actually does not do something today.
First time ever.
So Jake has really consolidated around that flag. Does not leave him much to deal with the central flag.
So score is 1-1 with that Spellmartyr proving critical to capturing that flag.
So not upkeeping the forest.
So you see a bunch of templates being taken off the table, probably to get put back on a little later.
Yeah, Veil is not particularly near any natural woods, I don't believe.
No. She's very safe from any kind of forest walk shenanigans. So we see a bird shooting at a raptor, hits, boosted damage roll, does not eliminate the raptor. So we see second bird shot, does hit without a boost. Boost in damage is enough to eliminate the raptor.
Another eliminated raptor.
Last bird going against the last raptor. Una proving her worth here, although this will be the last turn she gets to do that for free, effectively, because she's going to have to cut herself next time.
But she hasn't been damaged yet, so she could do this again.
Does leave the raptor alive with 3 points on a low boosted roll. So 2 Raptors out of that original 5-man unit left.
After one was killed by Raptors. Oh.
Mark considering his next activation here after running through that. He's got a free Wold Watcher now.
Yeah, the Wold Watcher's kind of running out of viable targets for the moment.
Well, and it looks like it's still, he did not leech the Fury off of it, so it only has 1 Fury to spare this turn. Mark taking a look at that board, checking things out, determining.
I think we're going to see a run from the Wold Watcher. At least potentially.
Certainly be the viable strategy, unless you wanted to charge that wounded Raptor.
Does he have the angle with the position of the Druids?
I think he does, but it would take an overhead shot to kind of really be able to tell.
The other hesitation that I would have with that particular plan is
the mat is not amazing. Yeah,
9s to hit, and then you're also 3 off on damage. It's not a perfect.
Well, that Raptor only has 3 points left on him, so a boosted damage roll if you can hit.
Sure, yeah, if you can
hit. It's the hit. That would put a nice little fatty forest template from Fertilizer right there, though. See Mark taking some more consideration time here. Time easily running down at this point as we move into the middle of this game. Both players have taken a lot of consideration time in this last round, trying to determine what to do without exposing themselves too much. And as you said, losing the blood trackers is pretty large because Pendrake and the Witch Doctor now can do some stuff with the Druids, but definitely are not optimized for it. They were there for the blood trackers. Una losing her Rotterhorn also significantly impacts what she can do in this.
Well, and the Druids are now down a couple folks.
So we see Pendrake eliminating that Spell Martyr with his lucky bow.
Yep.
Jake not lamenting the loss of the Spell Martyr because the Spell Martyr got a point.
Yeah.
That was the goal.
I think his exact words were, I told you he was going to get a point. The sneaky Spell Martyr got the job done.
That's right. It's a little Forsaken to follow up next. See a quick check on a charge lane here, it looks like. So needs an 11 with aiming to hit the Seraph if he shoots him with the Wold Wrath.
Certainly not impossible, but not an easy shot.
And that Seraph is really wounded. He's only got 5 boxes left. So see an aim and shooting the Scythian instead. So this is only def 11, which means he needs a 4.
Shot will bounce to the Typhon instead of to the Seraph.
So we see 7 points to the 2. Not a bad damage roll. Well, the Scythian hadn't been touched to this point, so a lot of health left. Typhon takes nothing on a 7 damage roll. Woldwrath using his Animus. So the Druids are going to be highly effective this turn.
Or at least highly accurate. Can't really do much about their damage rolls, but they, they're going to hit what they shoot.
Depending on what they're trying to shoot. I don't think that low damage roll will be a problem. I'm expecting to see a lot of shots on those Raptors. See Mark kind of positioning around here a little bit. So you see some Force Bolts getting started. So needs a 7 on 3 dice. Gets it. Dice -5. And murders him. Passes his command check, though. See a field promotion there. See another Force Bolt against the new leader. Does hit on a 7. 5 off, does nothing. So determined to pull, so he decides to pull, which means the Raptor goes nowhere. Hits soundly.
And was that a critical?
I don't think so.
I thought I saw 2 5s, but maybe not because
pulled the dice up pretty quick and then did no damage on that next roll. So we see the last shot. There's a critical.
Definitely a critical.
It doesn't look like, and again, no damage. And it doesn't look like he's oh, wait, maybe he put a token next to him. Nope.
The judge is actually checking on what we were talking about just now, asking if his critical is optional or mandatory. It is mandatory, so the Raptor is knocked down.
So the Raptor's knocked down, but the damage roll is still not enough to kill it.
Right. Winds up not being important, the knockdown, in this particular case.
See a shot on the side end. And not within 10, so...
Shot falls short.
That was an important distinction because that original 3 dice roll was a crit, which would have knocked the Sidian down. 2 dice roll was not. Dealt no damage.
And it's always interesting when you get to these points in the game where the dice start to turn. Towards the very beginning of the game, Marc-Andre had a couple of really great damage rolls, like that 6-6-5 or 4.
Yeah. He had a 16, a 16, a 15. Like he was
great stuff.
He was on fire.
And now it's kind of turning. He needs even just average, and he's coming up with threes and 4s.
It's not what you want to see at this point for sure. So the knockdown Raptor is still contesting, so there's going to be no point there. So we'll probably see the Wold Watcher try to eliminate that Raptor with the shot. Shoots, does hit because he's knocked down.
Prepared a tree.
Needs an 8 to kill.
Tree. Barely.
Barely.
Just enough.
2 2s and a 4 makes an 8. So
fertilized.
Manages to pull that one out of the fire thanks to the crit and the knockdown. Without that knockdown, that was likely not to happen. So lucky for Mark, mandatory means it has to happen. You can't forget it.
Yep.
Had it said can, that Raptor would have still been standing. So Mark will be scoring another point this turn, putting him at 2-1. Tight game here, though. Very tight on control points. And overall, still fairly tight in terms of attrition.
Well, based on what has activated and what hasn't, it also looks very likely that Jake's going to be able to grab his flag again next turn. There's only one model contesting, and it's not one that's going to be hard to remove.
You see Balder throwing up Forest again. We see Balder now dropping Fury.
Believe so.
Nope, moving. He spends Fury for the Forest. He's moving over. I'm a little surprised he's moving closer towards the flag in the center because he can't dominate for extra points. So unless he's afraid of what Jake's going to be able to do, he's just moving himself further away from the leftmost flag, which Jake could dominate this turn.
Yeah.
So Mark only has 14 minutes left. Jake has 25 left on the clock, so the time is winding down, but Jake has a comfortable size here. So solid ground is still up.
Just making sure that everybody's in agreement and clear on where the Fury points are and the other tokens, the other effects.
So at this point in the game, with the Balder move away from the leftmost flag, I really think I would move Vale into domination.
It's a reasonable course of action. That Waldrath gun is so nasty, though.
With enough transfers, she's got the beast to do it. I don't believe that Mark can eliminate all the beasts.
The Seraph's nearly out.
The Seraph is nearly out.
Typhon's listing.
Typhon's hurt. The Scythian took some damage this turn, but not a ton. Only 5 boxes.
So you can't take too many transfers, even if you've got 8 Fury, because one transfer is going to do the Seraph.
Well, but the amount of guns that are there, the biggest question is obviously
one
the
crit
Druids.
from a Druid.
One crit from a Druid. definitely an issue.
If you can get that, well, with the Druid positions, Jake might want to seriously consider leaving specific ones of them alive and getting Veil over to that flag. If the Wold Wrath can't get his miss, he can though. With the position, there's no way that's really going to have an impact. Because those flags are close enough that, maybe not. Since his Animus only would affect it if he got Veil within the 10 inches, it might be possible to leave a couple Druids alive, to block the movement, to give Veil the time she needs to dominate, and then dominate again. Maybe.
Well, he also has some anti-Druid capacity with the Forsaken, who has 4 Fury. The question is, can the Forsaken get to a position that is going to allow it to use its Blight Field in a way that's going to take out a number of Druids?
Or are we going to see the Seraph go all melee?
It is not an impossible question here. I mean, it is Mat 6, which is decent in terms of any Legion War Beast ability, with Insight as well.
Yeah,
It brings it up to an 8.
Its Stinger auto kills Druids if it hits. So doesn't even matter. You don't have to worry about the damage roll.
No.
They're just plain toast.
Just eliminates them completely.
And since it's almost dead, it might be a valuable missile.
It could certainly work. It depends. It really depends what if its body or its mind is out, or spirit.
Well, if it's only got one aspect out, though, it'll cost Veil one Fury to get it over into the mix, kill some dudes,
and like
be
you
in the
pointed
way.
out, it doesn't need its body. It needs its mind and its spirit.
Right. Yep.
Like, its body is inconsequential. The 2 important ones are mind and spirit. So we have the Forsaken advancing out, so it doesn't look like we're going to see Veil making the bold play yet.
Veil kills, Veil. The Forsaken kills the Druid.
Kill a Druid.
No tough roll.
Is tough from the Gatorman from last turn, the Witch Doctor. The Druid's now having everything, immunity to everything.
Yeah.
LCQ players, dice down.
Not immunity to Blight. Fire, sure, but that Blight will tear you right up.
It'll do the trick. So Jake's going to score a point this turn. That Forsaken's kind of out in the open, though.
So at the moment, still here at the beginning of the round, it's 2-1. Marc-Andre has the 2 points. Jake has just 1. And currently, the central flag is not contested by the Legion Army.
Like you said, he can use the Seraph, run in there, try to murder some more Druids, contest.
Yep. Possibly take them below half strength.
Which would buy him an extra turn. You're going to see a Typhon shooting at poor Pendrake.
Whoa, and that shot's not going to hit
First
Victor
one
Pendrake.
misses. Second one misses. Third one misses. Wow.
Well, and both of those second ones only missed because of the duck roll. Because Pendrake is a expert on all things Warbeast, he gets +4 defense against melee and ranged attacks made by Warbeasts.
See a quick control area measurement here from Veil in the back behind that wall. Trying to determine what to do next here. There is a good cluster of Druids, so the Seraph could conceivably dash forward if it has the right aspects and try to kill at least 2 of them, maybe 3 if it gets lucky on a roll.
Well, and even if it doesn't kill them, tying them up might be worth it at the moment as well. Marc-Andre doesn't really want to waste his Wold Wrath activation on doing a last couple points of damage to a Seraph. And the Druids don't want to take free strikes from a Seraph.
Right.
It's not like the Seraph's ranged attacks are going to be doing a whole lot right now. You've got Pendrake with Duck, the Wold Wrath who just doesn't care, and then the Druids who are immune.
So we see the Seraph slipstreaming. I think we're going to see the Scythian going out there instead,
Oof.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
So because the Seraph slipstream activated, shifted over just a little bit to give that Scythian slipstream.
Wow, so that Seraph's not really doing much. It might be able to shoot the Gatorman Witch Doctor. Maybe?
So we see a measurement here. Deciding to shoot the Woldrath. He can't see. Oh, maybe he can't see the Wold. I think the Witch Doctor would have been a better choice, but does 4 points in the Woldrath to the 1. Second one hits, needs a damage roll like that. 2 points to the 2. Last
Plink,
shot.
plink.
Jake keeps dropping his dice here. Seraph's range 10, I think it might have been just outside of that Witch Doctor. Because otherwise, it just makes sense to shoot the Witch Doctor.
That's what I would say.
Take away that tough on a stick.
Yeah. Woldrath, though, has a lot more damage boxes than your average beast.
So we see Vale throwing Heraculi and hitting the Seraph, causing no damage. We're gonna see. I see what he's doing. He's going to Rampager from the Seraph, which hits the Wold Watcher, which pulls it forward, which is going to put it in range of that Scythian. Turning its back to the Scythian. And we see a Rampager. So we're probably going to see a punch here against. Yep, we see a punch. Totally hits him and turns a Druid into a forest. Kabloosh. So there's a Rampager. The Wold Watcher is now in prime charging position for the Scythian, which was slipstreamed by the Seraph. But that Scythian, if it goes there, checking line of sight, trying to figure out where to go. So Vale's still going here. Trying to determine what to target next. So he does hit with a Malice.
Was that the...
And eliminates the Overseer.
Okay, so no more protection from elements.
No more protection from elements. So a fairly good turn right there. Working down those Druids. Throwing away that Scythian, even to eliminate the Wold Watcher and probably bloodbathing on most of the Druids by that flag?
I don't know. I don't think it's even going to be most because of the angle. He can't clip the Seraph's base. I think he's only going to get one Druid.
He's not going to get into base with the flag either.
No, he's just going to get within 4 inches of the flag. He's definitely going for scenario victory at this point. If he slows down the Circle Army, but he's not even going to slow it down by a turn because the Woldrath's going to take out that Scythian and still be base to base with the flag.
So we see a hit from the Scythian. This should have little problem in destroying the Wold Watcher between all of the attacks that he's going to have. 7 points. Second one hits. 9 points. Chain attack bloodbath hits.
And
10 points to 3,
toast.
and that is gone.
So yeah, none of the Druids caught by the chain attack bloodbath. The angle due to the Seraph's base was just not going to allow the Scythian to get any closer.
Well, and Jake scores another point at the end of his turn. That Scythian is just hanging out in the wind, though, for that Woldrath. Or Balder, for that matter. So We
It's
see
very
Balder.
interesting play, but seems like a bit of a gamble.
It only
Once
puts-
that Woldrath gets to take its activation, we'll be down a Scythian on the Legion side and up another control point on the Circle side.
So we see Una measuring her control area is within 6 of the flag, so Una's just going to walk up after cutting herself to replenish all of her fury. She misses on the first shot, hits on the second shot, boosts damage.
Oh, Una.
Oh, there's one of those huge rolls.
She had some trouble with her birds
16.
earlier, but not anymore.
Comes another shot with the bird. He boosts it, hits soundly with a 17. Jeez. Those big rolls are back. 13 points, a very respectable 3-dice roll.
Wow. That is a lot of damage on that what was a nearly healthy Scythian.
Yeah. Some amazing damage rolls from Mark, and that Scythian is now in danger of dying from just Druid Force Bolts.
Yeah, potentially. How many Druids are left? 3?
3, I think. Might be 4.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's 4.
So the Witch Doctor advance puts tough Zombify on the Druids again. So once again, those Druids are going to be tough and undead for what it matters.
I think we're going to see Victor Pendrake bravely throw his life before the blighted flames.
Looks as if that will be the case. He did check to make sure he was fearless because of the abomination from the Forsaken. See the Druids advance. They're shifting over, making way for that Woldrath to do what he wants to do. Once that Woldrath gets in base to base with that flag, there's not a whole lot that Jake can do to stop him.
Not without his Scythian.
Hits and crit knockdown. 2 points to the Forsaken, knocked down, which is huge. No problem hitting because the Forsaken was knocked down on that boxcars roll. Pulls him 1 inch forward again. 2 more points, leaves that Forsaken with 1 left. So another shot hits, needs to do 1 damage, does it. Forsaken is destroyed. Saw it on the Scythian, actually misses.
With cover, not a particularly easy shot.
Does it for the Druid. Victor Pendrake.
Charge!
Charging Typhon.
It's not all that often that we see the Orgoth sword in action. It is a power plus strength 11.
Well, unfortunately, he missed. Roll the 4.
It's still a power plus strength 11.
Shining moment failed, Pendrake. Shining moment failed.
He needs to tie his bow to his sword and have a lucky sword.
Mark now wondering if he might have messed his own activations up here by how he moved.
I was wondering that myself. I thought we might see that final Druid just kind of stand next to the Scythian. But nope, there's room. There's room to get within 2 inches.
And the Scythian is crushed. And now the Woldrath is base to base with the flag. That's going to put Mark up to 3.
I think we're going to see Balder base to base with that flag in just 1 second.
Would you move Balder base to base with the flag, though? I mean, he can't dominate for any more than what the Woldrath already gets.
Well, at least advance up a bit.
I can see him definitely advancing up. So riles the Woldrath for 2 before he ends the activation.
Yeah, it's
Baldur
not like
advances.
that Woldrath is going to get removed from the flag. So,
No.
yeah, no point in running Baldur, but advancing up, putting another forest where he needs it.
Yeah, at best, Jake can slow Mark down for another turn.
So we've got 3 points, 3 control points for Marc-Andre, 2 control points for Jake. Very close game here.
It's very tight. So Jake confirming that the Woldrath and Una are touching the flag. Jake only has 8 minutes and 20 seconds left on his clock. So time is burning down here.
And he basically has to put Veil in base to base with the flag.
Yep.
Well, maybe not. At least close enough to do it next turn and to contest this turn.
He has to contest, he has to score a point this turn, and then he has to weather Mark's turn. Veil can run right to that flag however she needs to.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible here.
It's snake time. That Seraph needs to go melee some Druids in the face.
Well, and also stay within 4 inches of that flag, because that's going to be critical. That's the only model that Jake really has left that can contest. So we see an Oraculized shot, it looks like. No, a Malice shot. Eliminating another Druid. See 3 for an Insight, it looks like.
Try and make it easier to hit Pendrake with his duck.
Huh.
Does she have line of sight to Oraculous Pendrake? Because that's what I thought he was going for.
I don't know from his current position if he does. It's hard to tell because she's behind that wall. See Jake kind of doing some math in his head.
It's not real easy. He is arm 14, and the snowball's only POW 8.
It would take a high roll for sure to be the only thing to take him out.
But yeah, I can't tell if she can even see him from our angle.
Not with Jake's shining head in the way. His beautiful coif of hair there, right over top as he scopes out the table. Considering his next move here. Consideration. So that's the end of that.
Here comes the Seraph. He's taking one for the team.
So staying 4 inches away from the flag. Apparently he's going to try his best to shoot Una off the flag.
Yeah.
The Druids are not elemental anymore, so he can shoot the Druids as
Yeah,
well.
no, he's shooting the Druids. It's that
2
side of the
shots.
table that matters more at the moment.
Hits the first Druid and kills. Does kill. So, hits the second one. Needs a tough roll. Does get it, so he is tough.
But that knockdown will prove beneficial. No?
Depends which Druid it was. If it's the one that's blocking the Woldrath's like spot.
So between Insight and the roll, we've determined here that even without rolling, even if we rolled Snake Eyes, it would be enough to kill Pendrake. So it was Insight was needed to make that roll high enough.
Insight did it. Now Jake's looking at his last 2 shots. Trying to get.
Making sure that he's got range here.
So it looks like it was ruled to be in.
Okay.
Hits.
So The Druid attempts a tough roll, is unsuccessful. Typhon's second spray concluded, moves on to his third and final spray, trying to deal with the Gatorman Witch Doctor, who is not going to be as easy to kill as one random Druid with one damage box.
So 15, so he does hit, does not hit, and that's the end. Jake goes to 3.
He hit and dealt no damage, I believe.
Hit and dealt no damage.
As we get towards the end of the games, things get a bit
quicker,
a bit fast and furious, and also our judges want to make sure that everything is strictly by the book.
So we've got a tie game right now in control points, 3-3, but Jake is in a better position right now because he can potentially get Veil to dominate that flag next turn, which would give him the 5 to win.
But can that Wold-Wrath contest? From where it is?
That is the question.
I think the answer is yes. And I think the answer is we're about to see it.
So we see the force go away.
Una, she's still around.
Aiming and shooting the Seraph with her bird. Does hit. Uses her last Fury point to boost. Poor Jake. Last bird shot, 6 off. 2 points.
Even without any health left to gain more Fury, even without any Fury points left, those 3 birds are making a difference.
They are. The Seraph is still alive, but barely. Looks like it's got most of its body left.
Looks
Its
like it's
mind
going to
is
be
out.
up to Balder to try to finish it off. But can he reach? I don't know if he can reach. I guess he could Forest walk over to the Seraph?
Well, that is a force template.
He needs to kill the Seraph.
So, not impossible.
Well, but would he reach if he just plain Forest walked to the other forest? I don't think he's going to reach.
I don't think so either. I think the wing makes it look a lot closer than it is. So you got the Wold-Wrath, which kind of needs to run to contest that flag.
Oh, maybe he would. It's hard to tell.
So we see the run.
It's going to be
Mark
close.
admitting
That's
it's
what
going to
he's got to do.
Close.
I mean, he might as well run the Witch Doctor first,
No.
but he's not going to hold. It's going to be up to the Wold-Wrath. Wold-Wrath needs to hold the flag. Balder needs to finish off the Seraph.
Yep.
Or I think we see a Legion victory.
It certainly seems to be that way.
It's very close, though. And keep in mind, too, that we're not looking at it from the same angle as the players. We're seeing the same thing you are, just through the camera, trying to guess what we can tell based on bases and positions at these angles.
Here comes the Witch Doctor advancing forward, moving into contest rage.
Yep.
So that will stop Jake from scoring the point this turn.
But the Witch Doctor is fairly easily removed.
When facing down a Typhon, that is entirely true. Wold-Wrath. So Wold-Wrath runs.
Interesting. Cut very different angle than I thought he would.
Swinging around into that forest. See the Balder charging the Seraph.
So he does have it.
He does have it. And with full fury, this is mathematical. Hits.
So now we've got a weight of stone cooking for -3 defense on the Seraph. Not that I think it's
14.
going to matter.
He's got one left.
Does.
By an attack.
So attacking the weight of stone-knitted Seraph hits
Does
him.
hit. And that Seraph is now dead.
And good old Una with her 1 damage box, no fury, and no battle group.
Holds the zone.
Claims the control point.
Holds the flag and gets a point. So 4-3. Jake's got a lot of stuff contesting his flag and his ability to dominate at this point. Typhon, Woldrath just does not have enough damage on it for Typhon to be able to finish it off this turn.
So he's got 56 to start with. Jake dealt him like 6. So 50
Yep.
at arm 20.
Even with insight up.
Yeah, and he can't
7
necessarily afford to put insight up because he has to get Veil on the flag.
And yeah.
He has to get Veil on the flag. So with no insight, and if Typhon rolls every single damage roll as boxcars, that gives us well, okay, it would do it.
Yeah.
If he rolled
Everything is
boxcars on
boxcars?
every single damage roll, it would do it. I mean, is that what you go for? What other options do you have?
Right.
I mean, Veil certainly doesn't want to just run full out for the other flag. That's not.
Well, and that won't
that's
buy,
not a
that
winning
won't-
play.
Yeah, that won't buy her anything anyway.
Oh, right, right.
So I think what we're going to see
it'll
is
be
we're going
too
to
late by the time
we're
she
going to see an
gets there.
attempt to try to eliminate Balder between Leash.
Yeah.
Balder's sitting on 4 though. That's
Yeah.
but what
Interesting.
else? What else do you do? And I mean, you know you can't kill the Woldrath effectively.
Can you kill Balder? Is that really that much more probable right now? Def 14, arm 16,
So
4
well,
transfers.
with Malice,
Yeah.
Malice hits. POW 14. See Mark realizing that Malice actually gives him a bonus for every Fury he's got. Not a great roll.
No.
Does hit with the second Malice. Does 7 points. 6 points.
And it's academic at this point.
Yep.
No matter what Typhon rolls against Balder, that's the game. With 4 transfers, it's impossible.
So here comes Malice again on Balder. Does hit.
Too many transfers remaining. That is the problem.
He's got 8 points left.
Woldrath is still in Balder's control area, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Not by much, but I believe it's still in.
So Jake now looking at it. Veil's out in the open.
Oraculous him.
I think he already did, actually.
Oh. POW 8 to add to the malices.
Now, with only 3 sprays, it's not going to be enough. He needs
No.
to.
Now
needs to
he could roll boxcars on every
Yeah.
single thing, and it's still not enough because Balder just transfers all 3 damage rolls.
He needs to engage Balder and get 7 attacks instead of 3 sprays.
Yeah, it's not close enough, is it? No.
I don't think so. He moved 3 from Leash, where he was. I don't think so.
No.
And Typhon's looking at 9.5.
I mean, if he could use a few other people's feats, like right now, then he could get there.
If only. If only he could use other people's feats. Is Jake kind of considering what to do here.
Alex Cosma, are you in the room?
So even though he knows this is just for fun.
He's rolling it.
Jake is going to spray Balder a whole bunch in the face. And Marc-Andre is going to transfer a whole lot of damage to the Wold-Wrath.
Yep. It's 9
And
points to
what
Wold-Wrath
a
first.
finish.
And there's the
to
game.
A close game.
Yep.
In terms of the official ending here, I know they shook hands, but I believe it's going to – I believe they have to call it on scenario. Because, yeah, it's at the end of this turn. It's an immediate scenario victory.
Yep.
As Marc-Andre picks up his 5th control point to Jake's 3.
Yep.
Very bloody, very close game. Congratulations to both these guys. Very interesting one.
Very different game from our first one. This one was a knockout, drag-out fight that was full of death and mayhem and just a tight race all the way. So anything different would have been fantastic. Well, stick with us. We've got more games from the Iron Gauntlet at War Machine Weekend on the way. We look forward to being back for round 3. So
See you
keep
then.
with us.